Many of us love a good mystery, so in this video we count down 5 unsolved British mysteries that still need answers. The Beast of Dean is reportedly a cryptid said to resemble a wild boar. It's commonly sighted in Gloucestershire in the southwest of the United Kingdom. The Royal Forest of Dean became a hotspot for sightings beginning in 1802, with reports from locals of a very large boar, with occasional reports of damaged trees, crushed hedges and fences, and a supposed unearthly roar. Eventually, local hunters from the village of Parkend managed to capture the creature. The hunters, upon examination, all agreed their prey was no boar they had encountered before, nor even any familiar indigenous species. After this revelation in March 1807, sightings stopped entirely for almost 2 centuries. Over this period, locals frequently heard a low grunt noise in the woods between Parkend and the nearby village of Bream. Speculation had been made between locals to whether there was another beast roaming the woodland of the Forest of Dean. This would not be apparent until 1998, in which a report had been made by 2 locals that had been passing through the woodland between Parkend and Bream. They had claimed the wood seemed eerily quiet. Suddenly, a low noise could be heard slowly raising in intensity. Then a sound of rustling leaves was heard and the 2 saw a large beast come towards them in the darkness. At this time the men could not comprehend the size of the animal. They then ran frantically from the beast towards the village of Parkend as it pursued them through the woodland. The men then emerged onto a well-lit road near the centre of the village. As they came to a halt, they heard an unearthly roar from the woods behind them. The men were both mortified as they could not comprehend what had just happened. In the 1920s, a spat of accidents plagued a lonely road crossing Dartmoor in Devon. All of the accidents were fatal and seemingly unexplained, as there was nothing particularly strange about that part of the road. One evening another accident occurred, but this time the driver survived. When he regained consciousness in the hospital, he was visibly shaken. He explained to the police what happened. As he approached the accident-prone part of the road, he felt a pair of rough, hairy hands grab the steering wheel, wrenching it from his control. Further accidents happened and yet another survivor described the exact same thing. Sometime later, a self-proclaimed psychic was driving on the road, and as she passed the area she saw a pair of disembodied hairy hands crawling up her car window. Not all reported incidents occurred in moving vehicles. In one incident in 1924, a woman camping on the moor with her husband reported seeing a hairy hand attempting to gain access to a caravan during the night. She reported that the hand retreated after she made the sign of a cross. Spring Hill Jack is a cryptid that was sighted in England. The first accounts of Spring Hill Jack were made in London in 1837, and the last reported sighting is said to have been made in Liverpool in 1904. The first report of Jack was from a businessman returning home late one night from work, who told of being suddenly shocked as a mysterious figure jumped with ease over the high railings of a cemetery, landing right in his path. No attack was reported, but the submitted description was disturbing. A muscular man with devilish features including large and pointed ears and nose, and protruding glowing eyes. Perhaps the best known of the alleged incidents involving Spring Hill Jacks were the attacks of 2 teenage girls, Lucy Scales and Jane Alsop. The Alsop report was widely covered in the newspapers. Jane Alsop reported that on the night of February the 19th, 1838, she answered the door to her father's house to a man claiming to be a police officer, who told her to bring a light claiming "We've caught Spring Hill Jack here in the lane." She brought the person a candle and noticed he wore a large cloak. The moment she handed him a candle, however, he threw the cloak off, and presented a most hideous and frightful appearance, vomiting blue and white flames from his mouth while his eyes resembled red balls of fire. Miss Alsop reported that he wore a large helmet, and that his clothing resembled white oil skin. Again on the 28th of February, 18-year-old Lucy Scales was returning with her sister from her brother's house in Limehouse. As they were passing the Green Dragon Alley, Lucy came across a man in a large cloak, who suddenly spurted out some blue flames onto her face, disabling her sight and triggering violent fits which continued for hours. In West Surrey, many school-going children reported seeing a man who was all black with red eyes, who could run as fast as a car. In February 2012, Scott Martin and his family were travelling in a taxi when they saw a dark figure run across the street and climb a roadside bank in seconds. This was near Nescott College in LY Bypass. To this day, it's unknown who or what was responsible for the attacks. But what do you think Spring Hill Jack was? Let me know in the comments. Dating back to the early 19th century, this well-known music venue not only entices world-class bands and DJs, it also has a reputation of being a haunted venue. Sir Walter Raleigh is thought to be connected to the old Queen's Head in some way, most likely down to him either owning the inn or being a regular customer. The pub is said to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl and a woman. Many people have heard the sound of running footsteps upstairs, believed to be those of the young girl. Staff have reported hearing the running footsteps ahead of them as they make their way up the stairs. People have also reported hearing the young girl crying, and have also witnessed her slam doors. Another ghost woman has also been seen, apparently wearing Tudor clothing. She's most commonly seen on the first Sunday of the month. Another famous haunted pub is the Skirrid Inn. Standing in the shadow of the mountain for which it was named after. The first floor of the inn was used as a courtroom where people who committed serious offences were given capital punishment. According to local legend, more than 180 felons who have been convicted were hanged from an oak beam over the staircase just outside the courtroom. Markings from the rope can still be seen on the staircase today. The holding cell for prisoners has now been converted into a storeroom. The inn was also reportedly used as a rallying point for the supporters of the Welsh Revolt, which was against Henry IV. Numerous kings have supposedly stayed in the inn. The Skirrid has been an inn since 1110, and it's most famous for being the courtroom of Judge Jeffreys, the hanging judge during the wake of the rebellion. It still retains some of its oldest features, such as the wood-panelled restaurant and its old ship bell used for calling last orders. Skirrid Inn is the residence of several spirits, and various supernatural occurrences have happened here. The inn has a reputation as being one of the scariest places in the UK. Several paranormal investigators have been here over the years, trying to prove the existence of its ghostly residents. When the former landlady of the inn tried to sell it, glasses went mysteriously flying in the kitchen. The hanging judge is rumoured to still stalk the upper floors of the inn, looking for people to haunt. One felon who was sentenced to death, John Crofer, a sheep rustler, has been seen several times in the property. The evil presence of the judge's hangman has also been reported. However, not all the spirits in the Skirrid are evil. There are also friendly entities which have settled in the house, such as that of Father Henry Vaughan, a local clergyman. There's also the spirit of Fanny Price, a woman who worked in the inn during the 18th century and died of consumption at the age of 35. She is most active in room 3. Other ghostly occurrences in the house are the powerful scent of perfume, glasses flying without being touched, the rustling of a lady's dress, sound of soldiers in the courtyard, and sightings of the White Lady. Visitors have reported many disturbing phenomena, and most of them have complained they felt as if they were being strangled. Others have said they felt nauseous and dizzy while in the property. I'm interested to know if any of you have been to the Skirrid Inn. If so, let me know in the comments. Knucker was the common name for a kind of water dragon in Sussex, England. It was believed that Knuckers could be found at Knuckers Hole, a spring-fed sinkhole only 20 feet across and believed to be bottomless. The most famous Knucker lived at Lyminster, but Knuckers Holes were known in various places in Sussex, including Lansom, Shoreham and Worthing. According to legend, the Knucker caused a lot of trouble, consuming livestock and even villagers, and so it was decided to slay the monster. A number of different legends recount how this was done. One version has the dragon slain by a knight errant, after the King of Sussex offered his daughter's hand in marriage to whoever rid them of the beast. Legend says that after marrying the princess, the knight settled and later died in Lyminster. A medieval tomb in Lyminster called the Slayer's Slab is believed to be that of the knight who killed the knucker. It contains no markings allowing the identity of the owner, but simply a cross which overlays a herringbone pattern. Folklore holds that the pattern represents the sword of the dragon slayer lying on the ribs of the dragon. The Slayer's Slab was formerly in the graveyard of the Lyminster Church in West Sussex, but has since been moved inside the church to protect it from weathering. So that was 5 British mysteries. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.